Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Dream. Really excited to be back with you and to be with you in these times. And again, I just want to express my gratitude to all the dreamers who've been sending in their dreams. And today we are going to be talking about dreams and relationships, especially dreams about your ex. Okay? So, this is one of the most common topics that I get asked about. It is a dream that is one of the most common dreams that people have, and one of the more disturbing types of dreams that people have. So, I want to address it right off the bat. And I got a really interesting dream from a dreamer that I'm going to talk about at the end that is also about it. So, there's a lot of different things that I could say about this, but one of the main things that I wanted to mention, and I've made some other videos and stuff in the past, and I'm going to link to those after. But I really want to invite you, if you have a dream about somebody else that you know, especially someone that you're in a close relationship with currently, whether it's a lover, family member, friend, work partner, whatever it is. If you have a dream about someone like that in your dream life, there can be an instinct to think that you are somehow predicting or know something about the person, especially if they do something out of the ordinary or something that you don't like, maybe something that you're afraid that they are going to do, right? Or say. If that happens in a dream, there's going to be this impulse to feel like the dream is telling you something about this person that you didn't already know. And I want you to really try to turn that back around and recognize, like, when you have a dream of somebody that's like that, your dream is trying to tell you something about yourself and who you are in relationship that you didn't already know. So instead of making it about that other person, really take that first step and make it about you. Okay? And this is not to say that your dreams never have any truth to them about anybody else, or that you couldn't dream about someone and have information for them, or all that stuff. That's all possible. Anything with dreams is possible. But so much can come out of recognizing that when you dream about someone, especially someone that you know very well, it's not actually them that you're dreaming about. You're dreaming about your idea of them. You're dreaming about your feelings about them. You're dreaming about what that person makes you feel or act or do. Okay? You're dreaming about your projections of them in a lot of ways. Because again, in the dream, it's just a projection. You're the only one there. You're the only one that's actually present in that situation. So everything that's inside of there is a part of you and is of you in a way that I think is very important that you keep in mind. Now, how does this relate to if you have dreams about your ex? Well, a lot of times people will dream about their ex-partners, and they will dream that their partners are loving them again, that they're back in relationship, that they're back in connection, or they're feeling something very positive. And this can be a very disturbing dream if you are trying to get over that person, or if you've been dumped, or you feel hurt, or you feel like you're just trying to let go, and your dreams keep bringing you back into contact with this person and making you feel these feelings of love and all this other stuff, and it just feels like, oh, this is horrible. Why is my dream doing this to me? This is bad, And it can also start that mind going, oh gosh, maybe they really do love me. Maybe I should call them again. Maybe I should write them. Maybe it's different because I had this dream, and maybe it has to do something with how they feel, and it can just start a whole lot of mess. So I feel like a really powerful way to work with a dream like that is to understand, again, it's not about your ex. It's about you. And that feeling of being loved, that feeling of being in connection, that feeling of intimacy, that feeling of closeness that person helped you feel in the dream, right? That the presence of that person garnered this feeling of love inside of you, and perhaps reminded you of this love that you felt when you were with them, that you now maybe feel like is lost. Well, the dream is trying to say it's not lost. And guess what? It never had anything to do with them. Your capacity to feel loved, your capacity to feel cherished, your capacity to feel nurtured and cared for and that you matter is something that you can be in charge of. And in fact, you can feel from head to toe inside of your own body when no one else is even there. And how's the proof? Because you dreamt it. So in your dream, you felt love like that. You really did. And guess what? No one was there. Your ex wasn't there. No one was there. Just you. And that's showing that you have a source of that kind of love right there inside of you. And your dream really wants you to remember that and wants you to understand you can feel that feeling whenever you want, whether you ever talk to that ex again or you just totally, you guys get back together and you love forever, whatever. It doesn't matter. That love that you felt for them in the dream is yours, and it's yours to keep, and it's yours to nurture, and it's yours to grow stronger. So don't throw those dreams away. Don't feel like they're terrorizing you. Recognize that they're showing you the love that exists inside of you no matter what. No matter what. And you might say, well, why do they bring it to me as an ex? It's really not a good, it doesn't help the medicine go down very well when it's this ex-partner that I don't even like anymore. And that is, an interesting question. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons is just because the dream wants to bring up a character or someone that you can remind you of this love that you once felt. And so that person now represents the potential for that love to exist inside of you. And so that's the form that it takes. But the more that you meditate and you recognize that you don't need any person to feel loved like that, because the dream's already proven to you, right? You can feel love when just you're asleep, right? You're not even doing anything. No one's doing anything to you, and you're feeling that love. And the more you recognize that's a possibility, the more flexibility the dream is going to have to bring you in contact with that love in other ways. And that's something I'm going to talk about more as other dreams come. So that's really my advice if you're dreaming about your ex and you are annoyed by it. So I had a dreamer who sent a dream that was kind of along these lines. So basically she was in her mother's house where she grew up. And she sent me two dreams. I'm not going to talk about the first one this time, but both of them took place in the mother's house and in the houses she grew up in. And that's just as a side note in terms of settings in general. If you find yourself in a setting like that, like the house you grew up in, and you're like, that's kind of weird, I haven't been there in a long time. I mean, it kind of depends. Is this somewhere you go often? Is this actually a place where you've been with your partner before? Or is this like kind of weird that you're in your mom's house? So again, it kind of brings the question of, well, if you're in your mom's house, what does that feel like? What does that bring up? What do you feel when you're inside of your mom's house? How would this dream be different if you were just at your own apartment? And that's a way to kind of understand why the dream's putting you in that place. And again, I don't know the reason for that. You'd have to answer those questions for me to understand that. But that's a way of understanding. So just to be curious, well, why am I in my mom's house and not just my own house? There's going to be some kind of reason there. There's something for you in that. And anyway, so she's at her mother's house and she's with her ex-partner and she's feeling very uneasy because I guess they broke up, they haven't been in communication, and it just feels weird. She says it's weird because he's acting like nothing happened. And that's again just a kind of another question. Well, I don't know exactly what happens. That'd be part of the question that I would ask. But also just this sense that in her mind, something really bad has happened. And then for him, he seems normal and he seems okay. And that might reflect some kind of reality in waking life. And of course, that's always a difficult situation when you feel like you're going through all of this emotional turmoil and somebody else is just, moving on. But again, I think the empowering step in those kind of situations is to really own it for yourself. You know what? You're right. I am really upset. I'm really sad right now. I had this love, or I put all these things in a relationship and they're not, whatever, the disappointment, the grief, whatever it is. And just let yourself have it. It's okay. They're on a different journey. They might be someone who's really emotionally shut down. That isn't going to have a potential kind of relationship. But if you let yourself go onto this path, you could discover something, more deep for yourself. Or, I don't want to say more deep. It's really not a competition. It's really about letting you be the one who's telling your own story instead of it being a story that plays out in comparison to somebody else. So then in the dream, he sends her a letter and he says, you know, and she reads it right in front of him. So again, the communication is kind of interesting in this dream, and that'd be another question that I would have. Did you guys have trouble communicating face to face? Or what is it about the letter that makes it possible for you to receive this information? And then in the letter that she reads next to him, he says it's best that they're not together right now, but maybe they would be together down the road. So, first question I would ask the dreamer is, how does that make you feel? How does that idea compare to what is going on in real life with this breakup? And again, that could be a lot of different things, right? She could have been the one that broke up with him. He could have said that he never wants to see her again, or he could have said something like this in real life. He could have been like, not right now, but later. I don't know. But I'm just going to go off of my intuition in this situation, which is that this is something that the dreamer maybe would like to hear. Or let's just say that it's something the dreamer would like to hear right now because of the hurt that she's feeling, or when she had the dream. And again, I would say, okay, so how does it make you feel to hear this these words? And again, they're pretty specific because they're really kind of trying to comfort her, it seems like, to say, we're not together right now, but maybe we could be down the road. There's a danger in that. You could be thinking, oh, well, maybe this is true. Maybe this is something that the ex-boyfriend actually feels. And maybe that could be developing some kind of false hope for the dreamer. And again, that's why I think it's really important that you understand that this message is not about him or his feelings, but they're really about you and how you feel. And so the dream is wanting you to experience this feeling of what it would be like for him to say, we're going to get together later on. Not right now, but later on. And again, without knowing how that makes the dreamer feel, it's hard to know exactly how to frame it. But I hope that question can start you on sort of an inquiry, because let's say that the dreamer, the ex is saying we can get together later on, and she's saying, no, I don't, that makes me feel really bad. I don't want to be with him. Well, that might be really good for her to recognize. Like, here you go. You're getting what you maybe thought you wanted, and then you feel in the dream, it doesn't feel so great. Or maybe in the dream it feels really great. Like, you're really excited, and you're like, yes, this is what I want. I want to stay together. And if that's how you felt in the dream, but that's not the reality of y'all's relationship, or that's not the signal that he's been giving you now, or your partner's been giving you now, I would just, again, invite you, even the challenge of it, but to really let yourself feel, you know what? I want the relationship. I want relationship to continue. I want this to keep going. Even if it doesn't work out for a second or it feels really hard, I want things to keep going. And that's a really sweet, loving sentiment. And again, I know it's sticky because it's like there's this person you want to keep going with, and they're not saying yes. But when you say yes to that feeling, and you say yes to, I want to keep going, you're inviting that kind of love inside of yourself. And you're saying, okay, I'm going to let myself feel whatever excitement that I have about the idea that he would want that. And again, it's not really him. It is a representation of him inside of your dream. And so letting yourself feel that kind of excitement detached from the actual person in real life, but just inside of your own heart, the openness of, yeah, it didn't work out for a second, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep trying. We're going to stay together. That's the kind of connection and love that the dream seems to want to open you up to some extent. And again, all of those different caveats depending on what the actual situation is in real life. But understanding that the dream, if you feel excited or you feel loved in the dream, it's wanting you to have that love for yourself. And yeah, that's basically it. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in and sending in your dreams, and send me more. And thanks.